Hello, you're watching a tutorial for Possible Futures, Possible Selves IT curriculum. This activity is the Magic 8 Ball for App Inventor 2. What that means is we're going to be programming an app where it looks like it has a picture of the Magic 8 Ball on it, and when you shake it, it gives a prediction. Now, this screencast is based heavily off of the Magic 8 Ball for App Inventor 2 tutorial, which we do link to in our resources, and you can also find it by just searching Magic 8 Ball from the App Inventor homepage. I do also want to flag that we won't be going through this lesson start to finish. We're actually only going to be focusing on part 3, which uses the accelerometer, which allows you to program a phone if it shakes. And so we'll be looking at a little bit of part 1 and part 3. So if you're following along and feeling a little confused, that's why. You'll also want to be downloading some of the sounds and images recommended here. It'll save you a lot of time when you are instructing students to create these projects. Or if you are a student, it'll save you time from just Googling and finding the right sounds and images. I will say that the Magic 8 Ball image is actually incorrect. So what you'll need to do is just search for an 8 ball on Google, and then you can just save that picture for your app. So I've already downloaded these things. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and scroll up and go to the Creating Apps screen. If you haven't logged in in a while, it'll ask you to make sure your login is correct. And then it'll take you to this welcome screen. We're going to go ahead and start a new project. Again, no spaces. Just call it Magic 8, and that should load up. So similar to Hello Per, we're going to start by just adding a button that we're going to put as an image. So that image will be the 8 ball. Clicking Upload File, like you normally upload a photo of some sort. And this is the image that I found from the internet. Again, you'll have to do that on your own. Click OK, and that image should pop up and size itself. There we go. If you want it to be bigger or smaller, you can adjust here on the height and width under the properties for the button. We do want to remove that text of the button, so we'll go ahead and go text, eliminate that, and then that should be good. We're now also going to be adding a sound. So that will be under media. We're going to want the player, so that's this guy right here. Drop that there. And you can see that it's added and it's a non-visible component. We'll go to our source. And here we will find some of the noises that we download. So, cha-ching. Sounds good. Click OK, and there we have that uploaded. So we're now going to program this so that when it's touched, a noise will happen. We can go to the blocks, go to our button, when button is clicked. So basically what we're trying to say here is when the button is clicked, a noise will happen. So we'll go to our player, call player 1, start. So when the button is clicked, start the noise. Because you've used this before, I'm sure you're familiar with the whole drag and drop. So you can hear them click, you can see them click to make sure that they're together. So at this point, it would be a good idea to just pause and test using your emulator or whatever, your Wi-Fi connection, however you have been testing your apps. But what should happen is when you click this, a sound will happen, just like Hello Per. So we've gotten those pieces right. We're going to start moving on to the actual accelerometer component. So we're going to stay on our design screen. We're actually going to add a layout component. So we'll click layout, And we'll want to drop the vertical arrangement. I actually want that under the button, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. There we go. And so basically what we're saying is that the items on the screen will appear vertically. The text, we're going to be adding text right here, so we don't want it to be next to this. We want it under. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add some labels so we can actually inform the users on what they're doing when they arrive and look at your app. So we're going to add a label here. So we just want to take that and drop that inside the vertical arrangement box. And we can go ahead and say something like, ask the magic 8-ball a question. And that appears right there. Next, we're going to add our sensor. So we can go ahead, and that's the accelerometer. So we'll go to Sensors, find the accelerometer, go ahead and drag that in there. The accelerometer is another non-visual component, so you'll actually still see those down here, and you'll be able to program it because it's under your components, but you won't see it on the screen. So since this is the only new component, at this moment, we can go ahead and go to our blocks. So to program our accelerometer, we'll click the accelerometer and we'll scroll down a bit, or scroll up, sorry. And you'll see at the top, when accelerometer is shaking, do blank. So we're basically saying when the phone is sensing movement, do something. So now that we've got that, we'll actually go back to our designer. We're going to add one more label. This label is going to be the responses based on what the 8-ball is saying, so the predictions. But for the home page, what we can do is we can just have directions. So we can say, shake to see your predictions. Prediction. Okay, so we have ask the magic 8-ball a question, shake to see your prediction. So now that we have our default text here, we're actually going to now be programming it to change when the 8-ball is shook. And that label was label 2. So we'll go ahead and go set label text to blank. And you can see there's a bunch of labels here and it sometimes gets confusing or hard to find the one you need. But what you can actually do is just click this little arrow and you'll have all these options here. So you want to make sure text is selected. And now we're going to make a list. So you can actually click over here for a list. And we're going to say, when it's shaking, set the text to a random item from a list. We have not defined this list, so we need to go back, click Make a List, and now we're saying when the accelerometer is shook, rewrite the text to a random item from this list. So now's the fun part where we get to tell it what we want it to say. And if you're feeling like this screen is getting too big, you can always make the command smaller, or you can just drag this little guy over here. So I'm going to do that. Click text, and you want this block here with the quotes. And go ahead and click text again, add another. So in the spirit of a traditional 8-ball, the options could be ask again later, without a doubt, of course, no, outlook not good, be careful, whatever you want. So here we'll just say, sure, and probably not. And so what we've done here is we've created a list where we're saying when this is shook, it's going to randomly pick sure or probably not for our 8-ball. And you can add as many responses as you want. And then lastly, we'll want to add this block to the end just to say to restart after it's shared what its random text line is. So we can just go ahead and duplicate that and toss it under there. Okay, well, as you can see, this app is pretty easy to do and pretty fun with friends. You could make this into a quiz app. You could add multiple responses here. You could have a lot of fun. And definitely try the accelerometer for some of your other app projects. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the Possible Features, Possible Selves IT curriculum and using App Inventor.